That's Fifi. And she's just crying and crying and crying because she doesn't want to be in here. I know Fifi. And of course I turn the camera on if she stops. There you go. That's the Fifi meow. Good afternoon from Bobblehead Homestead. I am Jeff. Today is Saturday. It was like mid-80s, so yeah, fall might be finally creeping in, and it'll stay like this for another 3 weeks, and then it'll drop down to the low 80s for another 3 weeks, and then it'll, yeah, that's Arkansas for you. I'm getting used to it. I'm gonna, you know, at the end of December and January, I'm gonna be enjoying those days in the high 50s. Believe me. Anyway. I'm always rambling about stuff. Today, Greg the Great, my friend Greg the Great, came to visit. Had a tool he had loaned me, and picked that up, and he took me shopping. Yeah, Tractor Supply and the grocery store, which was much needed. It'll probably be a few days until we start figuring out the truck. So anyway. And I had enough supplies anyway, but still, getting a loaf of bread and some milk and cat food and cat litter was something else I needed. So thank you very much, Craig. That was going to be very useful. Anyway, today's video, since I'm not doing nothing today, and I'm in the middle of this doing a video every day, so I had to come up with a video today. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. Let's take a step back in time to August of 2018, a little over a year ago. I've been thinking about doing a video like this for a while, and I'm just now getting around to it, but it was last August 25th, 26th, I believe. This young skinny dude shows up in an old red Camaro with his weed eater, and let's watch a clip from last August. Today, a subscriber who has moved into the area, not all that far away, it takes a while to get here, but he stopped by and brought his weed eater, and just to help out, I gave him a dozen eggs, so he got something, and an old mailbox. I gave him an old mailbox. But he weeded all of this area right here for me. And that's just, and pulled down, that's the muscadine. The muscadine was up there. And so he cleared all the way around this, the front side of this shed house thing. And that was just a crazy amount of work. And he's young and energetic, so oh man, I'll probably introduce you to him at some point. We got to get together and go fishing or something. So but yeah, it was nice to get all of that out of the way. Pretty interesting, huh? Much different view back then. What I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to replay that clip, and I'm going to give you some commentary as we go along. I've just got the camera pointed at the computer screen, and I'm going to hit play, and I'll pause it, and then I'll start rambling. Well, and before we get started, that tree is gone, and that tree is gone. What you're looking at is, well, you can see the back of my truck here, so that's basically where the driveway still is, and my cabin goes to about right there. My current cabin, and comes back along in there. So, you know, that's a different view. Now I'll hit play. Today, a subscriber who has moved into the area. Today, a subscriber who's moved into the area. Well, that was Drew from Dutch Creek Cabin. Not all that far away. It takes a while to get here. And you can see, yeah, that old shed house thing was still here last August. But he stopped by and brought his weed eater, and just to help out, I gave him a dozen eggs, so he got something, and an old mailbox. I gave him an old mailbox. But he weeded all of this area right here for me. And that area right there is basically where my current cabin is sitting. What Drew did, he cleared all around that, and it'll make more sense later on. Pulled down, that's the muscadine. Yep, that whole thing, that was a muscadine bush. And maybe I can back up here. No, maybe I can fast forward. There we go. You can still see the muscadine hanging off, but that old shed house thing, there were these trees, and then there was a pole out here, that pole that you saw, and the muscadine just covered that whole area. That whole area was covered in muscadine. And my sister and I had gotten a huge chunk of that out, but there was still a lot up higher between this tree and the cabin, and so that's what Drew came in that day, and he cleared out all the muscadine vines from the tree to the top of the cabin, and then to that pole that was further over. Our work, and he's young and energetic, so oh man, I'll probably introduce you to him at some point. We got to get together and go fishing or something. Yeah, I did introduce you to him. This was before he had a YouTube channel, but Dutch Creek Cabin. And we did end up going fishing once, but we still need to do that more often. But yeah, it was nice to get all of that out of the way. Okay, enough of that clip. I don't do a lot of looking back on the past or dwelling on the past, or I'm kind of a moving forward kind of guy. But it's fun to look back and see the changes that have happened here, and to look back at that day, because what was coming the next day was something great also. And most of you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Jeff meets Drew, and the rest is history. And there's more history to be made. So let's look at the next clip. All right, now I will give some commentary. That's all weeds right now again. But last year I had my little mini greenhouse, and that's a whole lump of gourds. Okay, that's a big lump of gourds. And all this area in here had just been overgrown, and it's overgrown again this year, and that's all right, because that is no longer here. On the workday back in May with the Self-Reliant Roadshow, Drew is the one who spearheaded the group of people that tore down that shed, and all of that tin, metal siding and metal roofing, that's what we are going to be building the raised beds out of. And some of the posts were also saved. So yeah, that whole thing is gone, and now it's all weeds. But so one thing at a time. A path back to that old shed also. So that was just huge. Yeah, not much else in this clip. What happened the next day, having that space available for the next week turned out to be very valuable. So this was another good deed from Drew. Yeah, then I just talked about that some more. And yeah, all of that trash is now gone, and that shed thing is gone, and I've still got a lot of the same weeds though. And this clip I'm just gonna play real quick. This was just another project he did really quick that day. Another thing he did is he dug a hole, that post on the left, for my mailbox. You put that post in for me. You can see the rocks. And I don't have. Yeah, there's nothing but rocks around here. Nothing but rocks. And yeah, a good half an hour he was in there with a shovel and a pickaxe, and yep. So thanks to Drew, I have a mailbox. And here's the last clip I want to show you for today, and then I'll do some more commentary, and that'll be it. I don't know what I'm doing with this video. Alright, you can see the old shed house thing, and that mower underneath it, that was a corded electric mower, and Bulldozer Man I gave that to Bulldozer Man, but he plugged it in and it worked. So anyway, but this is another thing Drew did that day. Yeah, you can see in front of the shed house thing, he cleared that so that I could get up there on a ladder, which I borrowed from the neighbor earlier today. And if not me, somebody can get at those windows. Yeah, the somebody who got at those windows, well, that's going to be my next step back in time video, which will happen before the end of this month. But yeah, the day after I met Drew, I met another YouTube family, and you guys are already going to know most of this because that's where most of you came from. All of that was going on a little bit over a year ago. I believe that was August 26th of 2018, the day that I met Drew from Dutch Creek Cabin. And the very next day, I'm going to do another video on what happened after this, because this was a pivotal point for not only, you know, Bobblehead Homestead, but also in my life. So I definitely, I think back to this time. Grumpy. I think back to that last week of August in 2018 almost every day. Probably every day I think about it. So I'm going to do another step back in time video sometime before the end of this month. Someday like today where I'm just not doing anything else. And okay, I hope this video turns out. 'Cause I've been thinking about doing this video for a couple months now, but I don't know the technology, how to do the voiceovers, and I couldn't find my microphone to do a voiceover, and the sound on that is horrible anyway. And so this was the easiest, quickest thing I could come up with. I hope it turns out. Thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking with me every day in September. Take her easy, everybody. Bob, where am I supposed to sit, Bob? You took my seat, Bob. I'm just watching VW Family Farm announce that the first Saturday in April, April 4th, will be the shindig of, what year is that? Is that going to be 2020? Wow. Yeah, April 4th, Saturday, the shindig. Very cool. Thank you, VW Family Farm and Roots and Refuge. I'm going to start my planning now. And Grumpy's going to help. You going to help me plan, Grumpy? I hope so. Bob, if I'm going to plan anything, you got to get out of my seat, Bob. You do. You got to get out of my seat. He just left. He was here all afternoon. Heavy labor and a huge, tremendous help. So thank you. You know who you are. And we'll get together again. And he doesn't have to raise chickens because he can get all of his eggs from me. That's what I told him anyway. I gotta justify it somehow. Oh yeah. Like I said, I just let the weeds go because it was a losing battle, and I figure they'll die this winter. But now there's a big old brush pile, and that pole, I don't know what, I guess the muscadine, the previous owner was using that for the muscadine, I don't know. But, yep. So, a ton of work. It might not look much to you guys, but it was just a ton of work today. And I might have another surprise up my sleeve tonight.